Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to AEL. It's time for the InterVarsity event. It's already been a long day, that is for sure. Our high school champions were crowned just a few hours to go. But when it comes to the big boys, those who have graduated high school and have moved on to tertiary education, well, the grind keeps on rolling. As tonight, we have not one, not two, but 3 games to bring to you. My name is Formal. Joining me, as always, is Fetch, as I think we're going to be in for a treat tonight.
I agree. It's the first time we've had 3 games in quite a while. None of these one-shot wonder streams. We're going to have an awesome series of games. And I think some of these teams are quite interesting to watch and quite a few good ones to look forward to.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a fun day for sure. Just real quickly going over our schedule today, we're going to be opening with USYD OpenNet Esports, as you see down below, or USYD ONE Team 1. Well, because they currently are ranked #1 in their division, they're going to be going up against the Monash Miracle Workers. Then we'll have a double header of sorts as the UoN Mosquitoes first take on AUE Plat22, and then wrapping up the night, they go up against USYD Rokit in what is going to be a potential playoff preview.
Yeah, and probably the match of the night, as you kind of mentioned just before broadcast. I think it's going to be the one that's most exciting. There's a few big names here, a few names we like to see, we like to talk about as being in the top of their groups. Not necessarily top of their groups, but well up there. So I think all these matches should be interesting, but that final one will be an absolute banger, to use a bit of a cliche these days.
Yeah, I think the last match is going to be fun, but it's a long ways away. As mentioned before, our first game is going to be at USYD OpenNet Esports versus the Monash Miracle Workers, and we wouldn't be able to bring you such matches like this without the big thanks and gratitude of our lovely sponsors.
Of course, our first one is AOC, global leader in monitor display technology. Have a look at their website. They have monitors to suit all of your needs, great refresh rates, incredibly crystal clear pictures. Managed to get that through that one somehow. And secondly, of course, also Chatime, fresh iced tea. Try this new range at your local store today. Over 120 tea breweries with a commitment to quality ingredients and mix-ins. And of course, they're adding new mix-ins all the time. Quite a few added. I think a few added recently, as well as like Indomie, the same deal. And of course, as always, let us know your favorite combinations of Chatime. And on the topic of Indomie, feed your game with Indomie. They have specifically added 14 different flavors to their collection. They've expanded to 14, I should say. And, let us know how you have your Indomie as well. Best snack for watching University Rocket League. And finally, Rig headsets, what it takes to win. The best sound quality you can get from for watching the AEL University League. Again, makes our voices sound much better than they actually are.
Absolutely does. Fantastic stuff, and thank you again to all of our sponsors. Now, before we kick off this match one last time, we'll just have a quick look at our rosters going into our first game for the side of USYD, the OpenNet Esports. Biker Glass 55, Classic Destruct, as well as Witzel on that starting lineup. For the Monash Miracle Workers, Calcium, Viridian, and Mayan Rocket League. This is going to be a fun matchup for sure. Last time we saw Monash Miracle Workers, I believe they came up a little bit short on stream for OpenNet Esports. This is our first time, or at least my first time, catching them. I think you may have been fortunate enough to cast them before with JR Tins, if I'm not mistaken.
So. I've definitely seen them on stream, at least, yeah.
Absolutely. So they're going to be our opening matchup, and I believe it's high time we get into our opening game. As per usual, nothing has changed too much. Still going to be best of 5s, although it looks like we're still waiting for a team to arrive, although they could be jumping in just as I say so. Fantastic. I love it when teams just, time that perfectly.
And I think we've said it a few times this season, but we've actually had really good luck with teams kind of just doing what they, doing the right things, I guess, making sure they're listening to instructions, being as helpful as they can to us. And we really appreciate that, because it's frustrating enough trying to run an esports league without, people making life hard. And I don't think really any of our players have done that this year, so that's really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the less said about what happened in high school today, the better then. It was a fantastic event, and everything that happened had nothing to do with the players who were registered. So...
Okay, I see.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Have you ever had a streaker in Rocket League before?
No.
Because we had 3. That said, we are going to be kicking this game off right about now. Again, on that blue side, it is, of course, the side of USYD in orange. Monash, one more time through the lineups. Biker Glass, Witzel, as well as Classic Destruct for USYD OpenNet Esports. Then for Monash Miracle Workers, Fairy, Calcium, and Mayan Rocket League.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of didn't really touch on it too much before the game, but it really is open net who are the favorites in this one. They've played 5 games, they've won 5 games, if what I'm reading here is correct. And they managed to find themselves one very early in this. But yeah, they are the favorites. They are looking to run a flawless season up against their rivals, UU Purple. And I'm only calling them rivals because they both have the same score. But hey, that's how you invent narratives, right?
Absolutely. Also, just should be worth noting, we got our own goal out of the way. First goal of the night, too. Bounces off Calcium into the net. I think that's done and dusted. Memed, accounted for. Always won. I mean, there's also a great one in the high school today as well. So, you know, we're just making sure every AEL stream you have to have at least one own goal. I don't understand how we haven't had the anomaly where that hasn't happened yet. I'm waiting for the joke to die, but I think it's gone like about 12 streams in a row now for me where it's happened.
Yeah, well, it happens on our Wednesday streams as well. It's not just the Friday Saturdays. It's ridiculous. Like, it's so consistent. Even in like the single game series, it happens. It's just, I don't understand it. I wonder if the CS:GO guys get that as well. As Vitzel sets a really great shot, waterfalls down. The defenders just pull out of the road and gets demoed for their troubles. Bit of a 1v1 going here, but it gets taken out by Classic Destruct.
Would an own goal in CS:GO just be like an unintentional frag? Like,
team kill.
Team kill? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Oh, Classic nearly able to sneak one through right now. It does look like USYD have had a few more shots on target right now. They're doing a very good job at cutting down the middle of the field and setting up their attacks one at a time from that midfield point. Following through, as you can see, Biker Class stealing that boost away, draining those resources out of Monash's control. What we're seeing from this USYD side right now is a very mature approach to this attack, and it's something that I do enjoy watching.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're pulling this rotation through really well. And I feel like Monash, they're a little low to the ball at some of these shots. They just don't quite get the height. They don't quite find that momentum. I don't dislike what I'm seeing from them, but absolutely huge credit to USYD so far. They are on the defense right now, and they are kind of making a good job of this, letting the ball cross the front of the goal, slowing it down a bit. But they lose that one to Mayan RL, who is able to contest it. A counterattack comes in quite quickly, but also the same striker turned defender rotates all the way through, managed to make a save. Vitzel doesn't quite get it, and a great effort from Calcium to stay patient on that one.
Yeah, but they're going to have to play off the backboard right now, and that can be a challenge for some of these midfield teams as Vitzel putting another ball up towards the backboard. Ferrier tried to get some distance, but again, it's read super efficiently by the USYD side, who are not making many mistakes, although they may have made one here, pushing a little bit too far forward, allowed that deep clear. Calcium tries to set up from the roof, but will only go so far with it. Defensive clearing attempt gets slowed by the attack, but Biker Glass will follow it through. Calcium needed to make solid contact there, instead leaves it for Mayan RL. And that was actually a fake that worked quite in the favor of the orange side.
It did. They're able to actually hold these attacks down pretty well when they do get it up there. As you know, Zalcium's kind of trying to show off on screen right at the moment. It's not like they're giving easy clears over to USYD, who clearly are quite a capable team. Main goes for 1v2, but Classic just managed to get another dispossession.
And that's a goal.
Extension on the defense. Yeah, Zalcium just finds it. Really good awareness once again.
Yeah, as we watch the replay on this one, you can just see a midfield cutoff right there. Kind of let that ball get a bit too far in front of the press play happening along the corridor. Relatively easy read for Calcium to make. Just puts it straight towards the net, taking advantage of the counter-attacking, well, orange side, for lack of a better word. And we have ourselves a tie game, about to be a leading game, as Biker Glass off the kickoff retakes that point for USYD.
How good are USYD off the kickoff? How good are they at just building momentum from nothing? It's something that's going to get you so many goals against some of the less experienced teams we see in the league, because a lot of them need to take a bit of time to form up the defense. And I'll be honest, like, Monash don't look terrible. I mean, definitely don't look terrible when they have some time to sort of set up. They look like they can contest on the defense. But if they do lose possession quickly, like a play like this, they just get like caught off guard and aren't able to react fast enough.
Biker Glass 555, second kickoff goal in a row, this time with a little bit of a reset attempt. Couldn't quite pull it off, but still was able to land in perfect position to follow that shot through a bit faster than what Monash was prepared for. So now we're looking at a 2-goal lead, minute and a half remaining. It's looking like USYD are going to continue their winning ways in the first game.
And it's not like we're super surprised to see USYD playing this well, given the fact that they do have that undefeated record so far. And it's not just an undefeated record over 3 games, it's an undefeated record over 5 games, which is a bigger number and therefore a better score. basic maths, Witsel does get a bit of a reset for themselves, but just sort of loses the possession straight away to the grounded player. And that's about the end of it, as Maine's going up for another one. Classic Destruct once again on the counterattack. Classic Destruct been really solid in defense so far. I mean, it hasn't been super pressed by the side of Monash, but still doing a decent job.
Yeah, no, they're doing a very strong side, actually, just to sort of keep these attacks moving forward whenever they can. Classic sticks back, though, in case of these deeper clears, and I do appreciate buying enough time for the rest of your team to rotate back, as Classic's going to put one up off the backboard. Witsel goes up for it. Off the backboard, shot coming from Biker Glass, but it's not the most accurate shot in the world. That will result in a deep clear as Classic tries to buy space, gets past Fairy, and forces a double commit with Calcium. Fairy, though, able to recover, but misses again. That's going to open a corridor for Biker Glass, who nearly drives it straight down the middle.
Yeah, really good pressure, the ability to turn around the attacks. I guess it's the same kind of logic of like of a kickoff goal, you know, if you're able to turn the momentum of the game on its head. Obviously, kickoff goal, any players technically can do that. But if you're turning a counterattack, that was really cute by Biker Glass. Plays it off that low angle shot off the wall. Don't think it was quite the double touch, but a great pass to set it up. And they just play off that little low angle shot, and they find such a wide angle, I guess. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Like the bounce off the ground. It was really cool. I'm a big fan of that.
So this is my first game actually being able to cast Biker Glass, and I'm starting to see why OpenNet Esports is currently an undefeated team. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with that blue side player who's sitting on 4 goals right now. Mechanically, this player has it. And by it, I mean that drive, that aggressive instinct, and the ability to find shots from anywhere. Every single one of Biker Glass's goals that game, well, I'd say 3 out of 4 of them felt different. They did get 2 quick kickoff goals, but this is a fast and aggressive player, and unless Monash starts to spy and have answers for the touches that Biker Glass is looking for, they're going to be struggling moving forward in this series.
Oh, absolutely. I think that Biker Glass looks really good. And again, it's sort of been like they're the ones taking up the attacking and making it work. You know, 6 shots, 4 goals. Pretty good record, obviously. But the fact that they're the one making these offensive plays, it is a big team effort. We kind of talked about how USYD seem to have very strong positional players. You've got Classic just sticking back, playing defensively, Vital doing a lot of the work to set up these plays. I don't remember exactly how many assists there were, but I feel like that ball was always being fed into the perfect position. You know, obviously not so much in the kickoff goals necessarily, but fundamentally the way the team's pieces work together really well are great, and a very nice opportunity there from Weitzel, just as we talk about them, that gentle touch to put the ball in the right spot. Again, kickoff goals. This one's set up by Classic Destruct though.
And something that worried me about that kickoff right there was the double commit coming from Monash, and I think that needs to be highlighted. It's very rare that we see situations where both players go for the kickoff and don't have one sitting back for the cheat. Well, that goal is exactly why as another kickoff goal goes in. And I'm getting very concerned very quickly about Monash's position in this game.
Yeah. This is probably going to be one of the more one-sided matches we've seen today. I still like what Monash are doing a little bit. Like I kind of said it before. But you're right. We saw a couple of double commits in the last game. It didn't make too much of a difference because they were able to find clears out. But that level of coordination and I guess the pressure being put on by a team who can just hit you from any angle, such as, you know, the side of USYD, I can see it kind of getting to them a little bit. You know, if they ever take a breath, maybe they take a game off. But I think it's very unlikely, just given how class USYD are and how Monash kind of don't quite have that extra little level of polish in their mechanics or in their communications. Classic Destruct just flings it down the field and gets another one for the team. 3
goals in under 30 seconds for the side of USYD to start off our second game in this best of 5. Just going to go ahead. Actually, I forgot to sort of update the little score tick. There we go. It is 1-0 currently favoring the USYD team. The ball hockeyness, I feel, of the USYD team is definitely exploiting a slower Monash defense, and I'm a little bit scared right now just because I feel like some of these saves should be coming through. That time we do get that save touch, but again, Classic Destruct cutting off the ball before midfield, trying to go for a fake down below to Witsel, who will find that second touch, looking for the top right bin, and puts it a little bit too far to said right.
I actually thought that Monash might have just needed a bit of time to figure out this series, but I think it's, if anything, USYD who's come up with the adaptations, which is kind of weird when they're on the attack. I know it doesn't quite sound right, but they have figured out exactly what they've got to do, and just absolutely kind of hit it like it's a bullseye. You know, they just know exactly what to do. They know how to do it, and they're executing on that perfectly, which is scary because it means that now Monash is like 2 steps behind instead of just 1. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say outside of I just don't have huge expectations, but an overextension a little bit like that, taking the ball a little bit too slowly is going to give Calcium a great opportunity. And I think that, like, not to hark on this point too much, but I think Calcium. I know it's Calcium, but I never want to say it like that. But yeah, Calcium, they are the equivalent of that kind of player who can hit the ball in from a lot of different angles and things like that. They're just not quite as polished as Biker Glass, and against a team who looks as good as USYD, they're not going to be able to shine in the same way unless they really step up their game and get some support from the rest of the team.
Well, I think that's kind of one of the big deals right now is the sort of like the boost-starved nature and the tempo being established by the other side as Biker Glass almost gets another goal. Witsel still keeping the pressure forward, but you can just sort of see how when on the attack, USYD, everyone seems to be consistently going kind of hard after the ball. You rarely see him rotate all the way back. Whereas in comparison, Monash, sometimes they're a little bit more static. Sometimes they're playing a bit further back than they have to, and they don't always have boosts in their control in certain situations. It's just a case where they're getting outpaced, they're getting resource starved, which makes it that much harder to fight back into the game, and that is providing less opportunities overall. I agree with you. Calcium is the type of player who does seem to want to play forward, does want to seem to be proactive on that offensive side of the pitch. However, he's a smart player as well. They're waiting for those correct opportunities to go for plays like that, and there just haven't been many of them. Yeah,
exactly, and that's where kind of, I mean, if an individual player steps up, that's good because they can pull the rest of the team with them, and that's, maybe what we see from here on in. 2 minutes and 33 seconds, definitely enough time to pull 2 goals back. But a bit of a whiff there as Classic Destruct's going to get the counter-attack, so it's going to be okay for, wow, it's going to be very okay, I feel like, for USYD. But yeah, one player lifting can kind of pull the rest of the team along with them, but it would be better to see a bit more support for them, a bit more kind of space being used between the players, not just in the classic sense of like being able to run the ball, but also in terms of like defensive structures and things like that, like those defensive lines, the variations of the way you set up the players. That would be helpful, really helpful for Monash. At least a building block to build a comeback. Good save by Main there, but they've got a couple of players both looking for this one. They aren't able to find much for clear until Calcium comes through. But again, you're right, those players, there's everyone looking for an opportunity on the side of USYD, and they're not letting up. And now the defender's a little bit out of position, and Broken Glass might have a good shot at this one as Main just pulls it back out.
Yeah, it's going to clear it all the way back up to the other side of the pitch where Calcium has a look at the goal but isn't able to knock it through as of yet. As now another play jammed up on that corridor. This could be good for Ferry. Ferry, how would you pronounce that one? Because I've been just calling them Ferry, but I'm not sure that's correct.
Yeah, Ferrari, I guess. That would make sense, right? Ferrari, well, it makes sense.
Ferrari, no, it makes more sense than Ferry.
Yeah, and another card rate name, and there it is. Calcium finds Calcium. Sorry, every time. God damn. Calcium finds another one, pulling it straight down the field. Now has 2 goals for themselves. And he's kind of stepping up a little bit in this game and just finding those missed positions and overextensions from USYD.
Doing just enough to keep it close, that is for sure. USYD haven't been able to run away with this game despite the 2 kickoff goals to sort of start game number 2 off. A minute 20 remaining, and we need to see a bit more pressure even still, and that's a good touch from Mayan. However, Witsel's able to get underneath it. Calcium doesn't follow it through, and now we go back that other way. Classic throwing it to the corner, trying to set up Witsel, who actually loses it to Ferrari. Shot comes from Biker Glass, double commit on the save, but the touch is put somewhere safe in the corner. Follow through now. 1v1 leads to a pass back to Witsel, who takes that next shot. Mayan again coming through with the save just to keep Monash's hopes alive in this game, but they're still struggling to get it past midfield.
I mean, looks super comfortable in the defensive line, like super comfortable there, but is struggling a little bit when the ball gets pushed up. Right now, Calcium with a bit of an opportunity, puts the ball in the defensive corner, which is not quite ideal for them. It's going to give Witsel some time, and when Witsel gets time, you got to think that's going to be a great setup. Actually, a really good block in the midfield there. It's going to be Biker Glass having to force to put it in a safe position this time, and I mean, 25 seconds left. You doubt you're going to get 2 goals, especially if you aren't picking up the momentum here. I think that was Main putting that one forward. I can't actually see the tag for some reason.
Oh, it's Ferrari.
Oh, it's Ferrari. There we go. They both have similar cars. I think they have. Yeah, they're both like the same color and one on the same sign. Classic Destruct, though, finds a goal, and maybe a bit of motivation dropping from the side of Monash as that one kind of falls apart a bit.
Yeah, it was own goal. Watching it back, that actually came off of Mayan, RL. So definitely motivation dropping. No maybes about that one. That was just a painful redirect into the own net. I think that was more impressive than Calcium's one from before. Either way, this game will be coming to its closure with another victory going USYD's way. They're going to get one more goal. Pinch right in front of the net. I'm actually curious to see the top speed on this. 152.
Oh my God.
I mean, you don't get to see the speed because it literally happened with the ball halfway in the net already, but that's up there with one of the fastest goals I've ever seen.
Yeah, geez. I mean, the ball detonated immediately, but that is probably the most, like, Saturday morning cartoon version of a 1-2-3 play. You know, like, you've got all three players there. They just kind of run it over the line together, and they all high-five afterwards. It's great. I love it.
So, I'm going to throw back to the high school real quick, just because that big number, that 155, reminded me. We got to witness something amazing, because I think I've showed you the clip before of the pinch that I got to call. That was like 180-something, which was like one of the fastest ever. Well, that didn't get topped. Instead, we went the other way, and we got the elusive 1 km/h goal, which I didn't know was possible. It was kind of fantastic.
Okay, in one league as well. That was the same season, right?
Well, no, that happened. No, the high school didn't give us the 188. That was a Asian overlap event, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But still, yeah. The 1 km goal actually happened in the high school league today. It was a thing of beauty. The ball just sat like 1 pixel out for about like 4 seconds and then just kind of booped in.
Is that one of those situations where like everyone's too nervous to go for the ball because it's so close to going in or out, depending on just how you hit it? Okay, I see. It's a very quick start to the game, though. This game. Sorry, go off.
Absolutely. It looked like one of those situations where the ball actually went in and out of the net multiple times. Like, completely. It was crazy.
It's like a quantum physics goal where it's just like, I don't know, stop looking at it, I might score. Vitzel is going to try and clear this one out wide. I like the Monash we're seeing here. A bit faster, a bit more momentum, even if they're not playing, like, even if they haven't got as much of a concise game plan as, you know, we kind of want to see. They're putting the effort in. They're putting the aggression on. I'm a big fan of that one. This is kind of how they might find that extra goal.
Oh, that is a good...
And they find it.
As you were saying, Fetch, this is going to be how they're going to find that extra goal. And it comes from a really strange pass across the middle out of the USYD side. And I'm just going to chalk that one down to a communication breakdown. Expecting the shot, expecting to still be the faster team. Kind of in for a bit of a surprise. Monash, for the first time in the series, actually take the lead off of that interception. And now they get to play a bit of defense. Can they hold on? You know Biker Glass is going to be hunting for that equalizing goal.
Yeah, and I mean, how confident do you feel trying to hold on to a 1-goal lead against this team for 4 minutes almost? I mean, I'm sure that they're going to want to go for another one, hopefully. They're still holding very close in defense right at the moment. Calcium, the player you want to see making a breakaway right here, but can't get it past Classic as that midfield starting to get established, getting locked down, a bit of an embargo in the center of the field here. And Maid actually wins it! An absolutely massive contest in the middle of the field to ping it into the net. Having another look at this, it just jinxed it over the top of the other one and then sort of 50s it. And actually, it was just a complete whip. Was that a misread, or was that just a tech error?
It was a misread. So Biker Glass was assuming they were going to get that second touch on the ball, but because of how late the flip was, it was actually a significant loss of momentum from Mayan, and it caused Biker Glass to overcommit on that defensive effort. So I would say that's about 50% on on Biker Glass, but also 50% on Mayan as well, slowing their momentum just enough to cause the overcommit in that situation. However, a classic destruct shot going to be saved by Ferrari, but Biker Glass keeping the pressure moving forward. Not a lot of depth on that corner setup, but this one looks a lot better. No! Putting it in the one spot where Ferrari can make the save.
Yeah, something interesting I've noticed just there is that Monash keep trying to slow the ball down. They're really, really big into not giving these sort of big momentum plays up until they're going for that stinging kill shot. And it sort of seems to be working for them here, you know? If USYD can't build the momentum to make these really big attacks, I mean, we know they can because we saw the pinch in the last game, but it sort of hampers their style a little bit. I'm kind of liking it. I feel like Monash kind of counter-adapting in this one. However, this one's got to be close off the crossbar. Classic just puts it off to the side again, sees the defender coming. Maybe want to set that up, maybe just didn't get the angle they might have liked, but it's going to go back for another one. Actually, that's Bike Glass. And again, USYD just setting up in their attacks. This time it's Monash who's actually doing a good job of rotating back through, making sure there's always a player in position. And they're coordinating attacks quite well. Goes a little bit too low for that one. Can just get it.
Classic should be able to get the follow-up from Calcium as well, although Ferrari Actually doesn't drive it forward. Is going to try to go for a back pass to Calcium. Classic has it red and will intercept it away from the orange side player, Monash. With this 2-goal lead, they're behind in the shot counter right now, but their defense has been doing a fine enough job in just keeping that ball out of the net. Only about 100 seconds just over to go, and I'm worried for USYD because they haven't been able to crack this defense, although this shot should. It does off the post and in Biker Glass with another perfect play.
So worried when I saw that post get connected with, and I'm a little bit worried for Monash as to whether or not they can kind of stop the floodgates from opening, to use even more cliches. But yeah, like that was quite solid. I feel like surely USYD have the means to do this. Monash, they can't get too complacent in this game. Of course they can't. They are still down in the series. This is match point. So they've got to be a bit careful. The fact they were slowing the ball down did sort of seem to work for them, but it's something which USYD, I'm sure, can deal with Ferrari. With a pass back, it was risky, but it seems to have paid off for them. As he's going to force a 50 in the middle of the field, and it's going to go straight back to Ferrari. He's doing a really good job. Main, great passing play, but just can't quite find the targets. I think that Calcium was quite ready for that one. Weitzel goes over the top. Waterfall's down, but there's no one there, and it's not even quite on target.
Yeah, that waterfall a little bit too far to the left as Classic goes for the dunk play over the middle now. Middle of the pitch actually exposed. Ferrari misses, but that's because Calcium wants it underneath. The fake is a 2-man play, though. That just leaves one Mayan on defense. The bump play doesn't make contact, and the shot was wide to the left as well. Biker Glass keeping the momentum moving forward. Mayan slows it down, but Biker Glass holds it in front of the net. Swing and a miss on defense, and the game is tied back up. Classic Destruct making it 2-2.
Yeah, and a really good effort just to keep the momentum going, having these quick rotations, pulling all the defenders out to one side, and just sort of experience difference a bit there, showing, you know, USYD just knowing how to pull these back, knowing how to keep that killer instinct attack going, whereas Monash not quite knowing how to, like kind of where to go from that, looking a little bit lost after a second. Attempted a pinch, I'm going to call that one as Ferrari actually finds it!
Ferrari striking back on the kickoff here. You can see Classic, yeah, accidentally pinching it backwards off of their own team, opening the doorway for Ferrari. An egregious unforced error may have caused USYD the sweep right here. They've got 40 seconds to get this equalizer.
Yeah, they've got an opportunity, a bit of an opening. Ferrari's time the one to pass. Calcium actually gets it! Oh no! Okay, goes a little bit wide. That looked like it was going to be a classic Calcium moment. Not a classic and you know what I mean. Actually, Calcium's going to go up for it. Misses. Whips are contagious. We've seen it before. I think there was about 3 or 4 in a row there. Unfortunately, Weitzel on the board for a couple of those, but they've regained composure. They've collected themselves. Still got to get 1 goal back to try and steal this series. Of course, USYD can do it. Of course, they have that skill and experience, but not if Calcium gets another one.
Pass a little bit behind Biker Glass. It leads to an awkward touch, but Witzel's still going to follow it through. Defense sitting back in the box, waiting to make that read. It's going to have to be a 0-second play, and no one finds themselves underneath it. Monash take game 3 and advance us to game 4 in the series.
Still match point for USYD, and you got to think they're still the favorites given how much collective composure they have. Monash kind of pulled back a resurgence, and I mentioned the fact that I'd like to see them take a game, and I thought it was possible, but they are still up against it. They have to make a full reverse sweep against a team who looks more composed, more structured, and a little bit more coordinated. Yes, they can do it. God, it's a hard ask. They are not the odds-on favorite here. Not even by a long shot.
We've already seen one reverse sweep today, however, at AEL. What would be one more as we kick off our next game, number 4? Monash on that back foot still, and even after this kickoff, they're needing to play some immediate defense. Witzel, though, on that counterattacking play, gets the ball across the middle of the pitch, where they'll run into Classic Destruct, and Calcium keeps the attack moving forward.
Yeah, a bit more of a kind of set, move, kind of pacing forward rather than those big turnaround attacks. Right at the moment, USYD leaving a bit of an opening on their defense. No one quite there to capitalize on it. Ferrari gets the ball off in interesting style. I mean, Witzel's there to turn the attack back around. He's going to set up an opportunity for their mates. Bounce off the corner. Bike Glass goes for the 50 against Main. He does win it. And actually gets a really good run. Set up for the run down the field. The ball straight and cross goal, but Calcium wasn't quite there as a double demo goes through, so it's Ferrari solo until the respawns come in.
Whoa.
And it... Oh, that got close.
That would have been a crazy dribble. Instead, it's going to be a Biker Glass shot, top of the net, and into the goal. 1-0 lead for USYD.
Seems like Monash have a bit of trouble defending against those, which is fair enough because they are very hard to defend against. But even with time, even with a bit of space, they aren't quite finding it. Some of that comes down to the fact that you're talking about. USYD making sure they were getting the rotations, take the boost and things like that. I don't think it's been as dominant in the last couple of games, but yeah, if you're not getting boosts, you're not getting the height to defend those at all unless you can find a rotation off and your positioning is perfect. But yeah, it does seem like that's sort of the answer USYD want to find. They're opening up in this game. They opened up the scoring in this game, and they're still at that match point. So they only have to win one of the next couple to keep their undefeated streak alive. The fact I feel like Monash even took a game off them was pretty good. But, you know, they've still got plenty of time to try and find an answer to this goal if they just figure out what they were doing right last game and keep holding on that pressure.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they're able to find it. A lot of it came from faster counterattacks as well and kind of playing just underneath in the middle of the pitch. And so far, it's been a good job by USYD to keep the ball in the corridors. And now straight down the middle, USYD finds their own opening. 2-goal lead. Biker Glass gets another one through.
They were so scared of how high that one was going to go. They kind of double committed for it. In fact, they literally did double commit for it up high, didn't quite coordinate it, and so it just goes straight down in low, and that's another one. 2-goal buffer right at the moment for USYD. Gotta be feeling very good about their chances to take this next game.
Yeah, you'd have to think they're pretty confident at this stage. You know what they say about 2-goal leads, though. You just kind of need one to break it open, and that's why Biker Glass is going to dribble it across the middle. 3-0 with an immaculate aerial play.
A really, really solid play indeed. Yeah, we haven't seen a huge amount of Biker Glass so far in AEL, but God, they're making up for it in these 3 games alone.
Yeah, this has been actually a really great performance from this USYD OpenNet Esports side. Kickoff as well going to go in favor of the blue team initially. Eventually, we do get a Monash clear. Looking for the double touch. Mayan is able to throw it back, but there's no striker to be found as we push the ball back across the middle of the pitch. Biker Glass tries to play the corner, loses out to Ferrari, but more attacking pressure coming. It doesn't look like USYD is willing to throw any mercy towards that orange side.
Absolutely not. And given what happened when they slipped up even a little bit in that last game, I kind of don't blame them. I don't blame them if they keep scoring and scoring and scoring and putting the pressure on and never letting up until, you know, they have like even a double-digit sort of goal lead if they can manage it. Biker Glass setting this one up. Pass it back down. Interesting sort of play, but it does go over to Classic, who just managed to find it off the pass from Witzel. That was the weirdest setups ever. I'm not entirely sure if it was intentional or like capitalized on, but like, hey, it works, right?
Yeah, I've seen these types of setups before, so it's not the craziest one I've come across. However, it's something that I typically only see in high-level play, and in particular, I see a lot of NA teams doing it. So that's cool to see get busted out in a tournament like this. Great little side pass goal, and why not add a kickoff goal on top of it as well? 4th goal of the game for Biker Glass, and now a 5-0 lead.
Yeah, Biker Glass is back doing exactly what they did in that first couple of games, I think. You know, finding the quick kickoff goals. Just sort of punishing Monash for not being able to quite pull into that momentum as quickly as USYD can. But yeah, Biker Glass, 4 goals already. I don't see Monash coming back into this. I loved their game 3. It was fantastic, but Biker Glass going up again. Ball comes off the backboard, but it's not actually going to be enough boost there to capitalize off it. Same for Witzel, it turns out. It's also not going to be able to find that. Main gets knocked by the Team Calcium trying to do something, but yeah, counterattack wasn't quite fast enough there. Big wall pinch, but again, no one really followed up on it. Oh, that was a bit worrying. That was a bit of worrying miscommunication there.
Yeah, that almost was allowed to just roll straight down the middle. And again, I'm kind of getting the impression that perhaps everyone is recognizing this game probably over right now. As Classic is going to take that ball to the backboard, although a very far forward play from Biker Glass means he won't be able to find that strike, or I should say they won't be able to find that strike straight away. Witzel, though, off that backboard again, looking to set up Classic, but Classic will be able to drive it straight. Under a minute and a half to go, still a 5-0 lead. We're going to make that 6-0 as Witzel gets a nice redirect from behind, and we're edging ever closer to that infamous scoreline.
Oh, true. The one which started taking over all of esports as well.
Oh, you saw it in other games?
Yeah. Did you see the Valorant tweet where G2 were playing really seriously for once in their life, and then they took the game score to 7-1? They were like, ha ha ha, funny scoreline on Twitter, and I was like, oh no, it's just everywhere now. That's it.
I mean, at least Rocket League has connotations with soccer. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. That's the thing. G2 was like, haha, there aren't any Brazilians in this league, are there? And it's like, Brazil didn't lose that. Like, that's not how that went. Okay.
Brazil did lose that. They lost that.
Did Brazil lose it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting my memes confused.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, fair enough.
No, Brazil.
Okay, they got it wrong. I remember like double checking. They got it wrong. I think they were like either I don't remember how they did it. They got it around the wrong way. It was all.
Okay. Yeah, no, because Brazil definitely lost that. It was a national tragedy, actually.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know. I'm so tired today.
I forgive you. Biker Glass does as well, and that's why they have graced us with another fine aerial goal from across the pitch. This time it's that delicate touch dropping seamlessly into the middle of the net. No crossbar, no ground needed. Just a solid 7-0 lead.
Yep. That's it. I mean, 30 seconds, maybe. Haha, funny memes, but yeah. I don't see much opportunity. I think, I mean, no matter what, the series is sorted, right? The series is just signed and sealed and going the way of USYD. I mean, there's a lot of passing there, but they didn't really get much off it. I guess they went for the pinch, and it didn't really kind of work out for them. It was kind of an awkward spot, but for what was a really, really good controlled set of passes, they didn't really get much off it.
No, they didn't get too much on that instance, but that's all well and good because the score we want has to come from our orange team. A chance to give us the score line with 0 seconds. No, Biker Glass! You didn't have to do it, but they do it anyways. USYD, killers of fun, crushers of dream, win the series 3-1.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, hey, they put up a good show for us. It's fair. Biker Glass kind of had a very good case to be the one who was running that lobby. 5 goals from 6 shots in that last game as well. That's a ridiculous accuracy.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, actually, and a ridiculous effort overall coming from this USYD side. They continue to remain undefeated in this event, and they're going to be quite proud of that, I am sure. However, we still have 2 more series. It's time to bring out the UoN Mosquitoes for a doubleheader. They're going to be playing AUE. I'm tired too, by the way, in case you haven't picked up on that. That high school broadcast went a very long time. They're going to be going up against AUE Plat22 and then USYD Rocket Lord immediately after. So, a back-to-back match for the UoN Mosquitoes, and it's going to be starting in just a few moments. So stay with us. More Rocket League when we return. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AEL as, whoops, forgot to jump over right there. These are our two teams about to do battle as the UoN Mosquitoes taking on AUE Adelaide University Esports Plat22. It's going to be a fun match for sure as well. AUE, they've been in that lower middle, I would say, whereas the UoN Mosquitoes have been in the upper middle. So two teams on different trajectories, one still with playoff aspirations and one, well, wanting to be troll like the team they are named after. We already have players jumping on into the action, so we're going to go straight into it. Kicking this one off, UoN Mosquitoes are in blue. Their lineup consists of Zesty, Vassal, and Jets for life. Meanwhile, on that orange side, you have Nif, Kobe Archie, as well as Sporadic Drake, and Fetch straight into it this time.
Oh, absolutely straight into it. And UoN, pretty good. We've seen them around for a while. They've kind of been here for a fair bit. And, yeah, I mean, they've kind of been a bit of a staple of the AEL. Looking pretty good in terms of their play kind of year after year after year. So not a huge amount of doubting behind them. They have a decent scoreline as well. I think they've got kind of a lot of the bits in place to be a really good team. On the flip side, AEL Plat22, they are only like 2-3, and depending on who they've played, that might not be the worst record ever, but it does make it hard to see them in that top 3 contention when you have teams like RMIT Black, UoN Mosquitoes, and USYD. I basically just listed off the top 5 teams, but it's true.
Yep.
You know, I think they are all three very like strong teams who could kind of who will probably be contesting those top few spots.
Yeah, and to go back on UoN just a little bit further, as you mentioned, they've been long-standing players. Zesty, who scores that first goal, was going to be the first player who I wanted to talk about, actually, because in the past, Zesty has been kind of the traditional sort of lead player on this team, but when we had a chance to cast them earlier in this season, it was actually Jets for Life who stood out for me as someone who's improved quite a bit. And this has always been one of those fringe top 8 teams. Like, they've always been competing towards the top. Sometimes they do make it into the playoffs, depending on if their group is nice or not. But to see an improvement from this team season after season, them getting better and better, they have truly sort of elevated themselves to be one of the upper echelon teams, I feel, in this event. Now, are they a tournament winner favorite or a grand finalist favorite? Probably not, but I do feel like not making the playoffs, especially as we've expanded it to a top 12, would be a disappointment for this lineup. So I'm looking at Zesty, I'm looking at Just for Life, heck, I'm even looking at Vassal as well to really step up and put on strong performance here today.
I agree, and to be fair, they have only lost that one game. I don't remember exactly who it was to. They're kind of sort of trying to run it over the line a little bit. Jets for Life goes for another attempt. They're kind of throwing everything at it. Are able to buy the time to get a few rotations back. Of course, Vassal's going to be able to get this one pretty comfortably. Their possession is looking really good in this game so far. Until I thought Sporadic Drake might have had that one. I'm not going to lie. I didn't see the defender there.
Well, I thought Vassal thought Jets for Life was going to have that one, but instead Jets for Life kind of just stayed back in the box instead of following up that setup. Now, ball slowly rolling towards the net. Jets for Life gets all of this one. Aggressive posturing leads to a dunk and a goal. 2-0 lead for the side of UoN.
Yeah. Pretty comfortably done as well. I mean, it was a bit like, it's a bit argy-bargy, it's a bit back and forth. They don't look super coordinated, which is not what you usually expect from a team who's been playing together for this long. But they'll figure it out, I'm sure, as they go. The flip side, though, I mean, we don't really know a huge amount of what to expect from AUE. We've casted one of their other teams in the uni, but as we see a lot of time, it's not like, you can't just take a look at the university style. Oftentimes you can look at like, this is how like ACT plays a game, or Australia plays a game, and that was just bashed in.
I mean, it depends on the esport. I would argue there are some esports where I've noticed teams actually do maintain that style depending on where they are. And
true.
I would need to see more the University of New South Wales Rocket League teams, because that's the uni I'm thinking of that seems to have similar styles across all of their teams, at least when it comes to games like League of Legends. Rocket League, however, yeah, it's a little bit tougher to kind of ingrain a specific style through, because Rocket League is always going to be so impactful based on how the individuals play on the team and how they play with each other. Just changing one member can change the entire dynamic of a team, so it's a lot harder to have a more uniform approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like you have it's not like a character-based game like something like Rainbow Six either, where you can at least build that kind of those kind of differences. Jets for Life was another one up. Vassals can always connect from it. Jets with a save. It wasn't quite an own goal, but it almost worked through. Zesty plays off the crossbar twice. Zesty versus the crossbar, battle of the century, and crossbar comes up 2-0 at the moment.
And I think that makes it 3-0 against Zesty, actually, throughout the games thus far. It's been a bit of a roughie for Zesty in that regards, but you can't be complaining too much when you have a 3-0 lead with only 100 seconds remaining in game number 1. Nif, though, going to create some pressure perhaps for the AUE side. Looks for the bump, but doesn't find Jets for Life, who will try to follow it through the corner, doesn't quite stay with it. Another waterfall situation, doesn't get in front of the net, and I'd like to see a little bit more depth come from the AUE approach. They're trying to play through the corner. It's largely uncontested, but because they're passing it so tight against the goal, it's very easy for the UoN defense to just play the posts and get nice clears.
Yeah, that seems to be the way of it, but clears like that. No, I'm giving too much flack for UoN for saving these, but actually it's just, it's good pressure. It's coming from both sides. We do need to figure out a way as Jets just gets a perfect double touch on that one. Just pulls it up high. I mean, it's just textbooks, exactly what you want. That's like training room level of
yeah,
sort of just play off backboard.
Yeah, it was training. It felt like a training room play, actually, unfortunately, because the defense just wasn't able to find a touch on it. And Jets got so much initial power from that first initial strike that, yeah, they just had to make sure they got to the ball in the right spot, and it was going to be a goal. So good to see training coming into play right now as we watch Zesty now going for a double off the wall. Chance for Jets, but won't be able to strike it in. 4-0 lead. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely, absolutely 4-0 lead. That's the state of it, right? It's the state of the game. Oh, here we go. On topic of Rocket League fundamentals, the first rule of the game being enforced very well, and it actually works out quite nicely for AUE.
Yeah, I'm seeing Jets for Life go Drake, question mark, question mark. I have a terrible, terrible feeling the Rule 1 got broken.
Oh, no.
He did. He did. He's admitted to it on stream, Fetch.
Oh,
or they,
no.
I should say they. They have admitted to it on stream. This is an egregious mistake.
It's true. What's the punishment for that one? So you lose half a point if you miss an open goal, right? You break Rule 1. You just get shamed. That makes sense.
Shame and, your opponents become more motivated. It kind of like buffers your opponents and demoralizes your own side. I see it more like a Bard ability more so than anything else. But yeah, the end result was a quick goal, actually 2 quick goals, I should say, going the other way, perhaps, as we'll see what happens when we advance into game 2 right now. Only 8 seconds left in this one, and it's looking like a potential for another ball. It's going to find its way off a sporadic Drake and not into the net. Oh my goodness, that was so close. I thought for a brief moment we were going to get another 1 km/h goal there.
Yeah, I thought it, but this one just doesn't go over the line. The angle was right there. The ball was right there. But, not this time. Not this time. Something I was going to say during that game, though, is I have a massive, massive, massive soft spot for when, training room fundamentals get used in the game. I think that's really cool, because, it doesn't really matter what game it is. It's very hard to take something you've drilled a lot in training room and take it to a real game. Now, that's not the idea of drilling fundamentals, right? You don't drill, a particular strategy to execute exactly that way with no, cookie-cutter differences. Mm-hmm. You do that so that when a similar situation pops up, you get a general gist of how the play is going to, kind of fold out. And actually, a pretty good defensive effort from there, blocking that kickoff goal. But yeah, no, I just have a soft spot for whenever you can kind of bring those practices to a proper live game.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, especially in games like Rocket League, which have such clearly defined practice tools as well. I feel like, to really excel at this game, you do need to spend the hours in those types of situations, just practicing and mastering the fundamentals. It's why I'll never be good at this game, Fetch, but players like Zesty will as they go for the dribble straight across the pitch. 1-0 lead for UoN.
Yeah, I'll admit, I didn't realize how helpful the training room was for Rocket League. Definitely helps you play a fair bit.
Oof, that musty.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't see that on the original play.
Yeah, there's too many explosions in the way, but that replay shows us to 101 km/h musty. That's probably the goal of the night, actually, so far.
Yeah, I mean, it was it kind of took me off guard from that one. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're doing a freestyle tournament, right? Mm-hmm. If you're running one, and I know you have in the past, and you're quite the expert on this, and this...
This Tuesday, Twitch TV.formalcasting, more freestyle exhibition matches are going to be happening, 9 p.m. Anyways,
Very
yes.
nice. Yeah, okay. That's good. I'm glad you got that one in.
Yep.
But okay, so if you have like a couple of people on your team with you, just to join the game. 'Cause I know it's normally like this isn't how it's normally done, but just to like cause an explosion right at like the moment you hit the ball. Do you get bonus points for that? Is that like the Dude Perfect effect, where there's just some random stuff happening to make what a relatively mundane thing look more exciting?
I
Is that, like...
wish. Typically, no. I haven't ever seen anyone implement that. Just because, yeah, you kind of need the defender there to occasionally save awkward shots that would go in but don't deserve to, if that makes sense. So people never really go for demos, unfortunately. I would love to see it. I reckon that would be sick. That said, and I still stand by this, there's a couple freestylers who I believe do this, although I haven't heard any of them admit it publicly. I love it when they try to create a bit of an act in terms of aesthetics of their car and boost in that. But yeah, outside of that, no, most of it is just pure mechanics. I want to show off what I can do. As a nice shot from Zesty again, second of the game, absolutely getting all of this one, 73, only because the ball hit the post.
Yeah, that was quite a quick one, and it's just the sort of that's more of an ice hockey shot, but air hockey shot, I should say. But that was a pretty quick play. I mean, again, as UoN kind of stamping control in this game, they are also a very, very good team. We kind of saw USYD do an awesome effort of taking control of that game. We saw eventually their opponents did manage to come up with some sort of a comeback. But right at the moment, I don't know if I have the same kind of, if I can see the same kind of avenues for AUE. Because at least in the last game, Monash sort of looked at the problems which they were facing, and they had some answers for it. I think in this situation, like, UoN have played so much in this league. They know exactly what to do against pretty much every type of opponent. They aren't always able to do it against the absolute top tier opponents, but that's because very few people are. But in a situation like this, I think they're very good at just closing out games without, like, not making silly mistakes, not overcommitting on the attack and things like that, and just makes it makes it so much harder to build a comeback without actually outplaying them, which is going to be very hard against a team like this. And
I'm also noticing AUE is making a lot of rotational errors. They've had a fair few double commits. Case in point, we see one again right there. And it isn't the same structure that we saw in our previous matchup. And it's just little things like that, which doesn't inspire confidence, unfortunately, for this orange side. That's not to say that these aren't bad players individually, but until you see them playing at that same sort of team level as their opponents, they're always going to come across as perhaps a little bit lesser in terms of that experience you were talking about before. So definitely still some areas to work on for this AUE side. That's not to say they can't turn this match around. However, until we see the spacing, the single commits instead of double commits, and just more educated touches in provided, appropriate situational touches, I should say, then they're always going to feel like a team that's probably on the back foot.
I actually think the term educational touches is very interesting because it kind of gets the point across. But no, you're right. Like, that's the sort of stuff which I think is hard to adapt between games. There are some matchups where even if you get absolutely slammed in the first game, relatively speaking, what to do. This one doesn't quite go through, as the save's going to be there. It's going to be comfortable, but the ball is going to go straight back into the attack. Sporadic Drake almost had an opportunity, but again, the kind of two players taking up the same space. That's very inefficient because it means you have less options to play through. But yeah, no, I think my point was basically just that I agree with you. Yep. I don't know if that was going anywhere else.
Yeah, you know what? It's all good. As long as you agree with me, I think everything will stay A-okay. Now, I joke, of course. I say a lot of wrong things all the time, and feel free to call me out, literally everyone. Call me out. I still stand by that. Not enough people call me out in this game. Granted, people have. In fact, I've been called out more this season of AEL than any other season, and I absolutely love it. Most of it in private messages, which is all well and good. But yeah, if you ever, have something fun to share, something I've said wrong about your team, please hit me up, and I will happily rectify the situation moving forward. It's just for life. I mean, what's cool about this goal is, well, he almost never touched the ground until it kind of went face first at the very end.
Yeah, that was like
oh, there it is. Brand. See, there it is. I called the breezy a musty. See?
Okay.
There it is.
See, this is why I'm too scared to call these.
Yeah, I know.
But no, that's good. Yeah, honestly, that's the thing. Like, I'm always so terrified of calling moves the wrong thing. But then when someone calls me out on it, I'm like, oh, cool, I know that for next time. So I don't entirely know why that's, like, a thing, But whatever. Broadcasting is intimidating. I'm just going to put it out there. The other thing which is intimidating is coming up against UoN. Segues of the century. Yeah, the other intimidating thing is coming up here is UoN.
Woo!
How good they're looking. With how Jets for Life just pulls that off. And those last couple of goals really fit the Jets brand, you know, just kind of flying around, not really touching the ground, just popping those boosts the right amount to stay airborne. Something which just fits that branding, you know?
Yep, absolutely does. I'm just doing some quick research real quick while things do continue along.
I can talk about Rocket League while you are.
Yeah, please do. This is important research because I've made this mistake a couple times between the Breezy and the Musty, and I'm just trying to get it down exact because they look so similar.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, honestly, I know some friends. I've had a few friends who are really into like flips in the like gymnastics, athletics sort of thing. Less like not the Rocket League sense. The difference between some of the flip names is absolutely ridiculous. Like there are so many subtle differences and things like that between anything kind of like gymnastics and like natural movement. And then you get to the point where some like different disciplines have different names for them. You know, like I'm pretty sure if you call it a gainer in gymnastics, you get slapped. I don't know though. But
dude,
like,
I stand by. Yeah, I can vibe with that. I'm okay with that. I've never understood that name, to be perfectly honest. It's a weird one to me. I'm gonna try.
I hate that a backflip, a front flip gainer isn't a gainer. It's called something else, and a backflip gainer is, I think.
Yeah, that's
like,
I
do with
think.
momentum you build from your legs, but I don't know. Whatever. It's too. Again, names are silly.
Yes, they are. As we do kick off our third game, a chance right now for the 3-0 to go in favor of the University of Newcastle, as they do have that 2-0 lead at the moment in the series. Haven't showed us too much to sort of warrant the fact that they wouldn't be coming back. And all right, one sec.
Okay.
Is it all in the setup? Is that what the difference actually is between the two? Look, I just see a car flicking the thing up like a pinball, and I go Musty instinctively. That's all I'm going to say. But yes, they are different. I do understand that. Breezies, I believe, are a little bit more technical to pull off as well. That they are a tougher one to hit. So, you know what? I will give that credit. It was a Breezy. It wasn't a Musty. But my goodness, sometimes amidst the chaos with the demos happening everywhere, I'm going to defend my ignorance. I'm an American. It's what I do.
Wow.
I went there. 4 minutes still on the clock, though. No goal scored just yet.
Yeah, nothing scored yet. Jets for Life going to pull it up. Kind of slow play it a little bit. Just going to bounce it back down. She just comes in for the demo. That was what they really wanted. Nif is going to play this one forward, and it's just sort of a more Sunday drive than our last few games. I mean, it is a Saturday, so it's not even close to accurate, but it's that kind of feeling, you know? It's a bit slower. It's a bit more chilled out.
It is, as we do see a pass back. Now we're going to see that play forward as Vassal going to get that touch through the corner. Ball going to fall in front of the net. That second touch comes from Jets for Life, and we have our 1-0 UoN lead.
There it is.
There it is. Real quick, though, something I want to address. Why are these players listening to our commentary instead of focusing on the game?
We're just too good, quite frankly. Either they're too good and they can play well listening to us, or we're too good and they can't stop. I like the latter more because it feeds my ego.
Absolutely. That's how I feel as well. But now I just want to make really annoying noises just to mess with them. Unfortunately, I won't do it. I won't do that to all of you. That would be incredibly terrible. As another kickoff goal does go in favor of the UoN side. They're able to get to that backboard. Supporting the AEL stream. All right, see, this is why I'm nice to you guys at the end of the day. It's great to see. Having fun here today right now. 3:20 still left on the clock as UoN are in control of this series.
Pretty well in control of the series as well. I mean, they are looking a little bit rough on this one, but not enough of a big commitment there coming through. Wow, Nif is just on a mission on that attacking line. Gets a demo, gets a setup, gets a demo, tries to put the setup through as well. Didn't quite work out there, but you know, they were making a run for it. They were absolutely going really hard for that one. Sets up another play with good little handoff, but isn't quite able to make anything else. But this midfield control was looking pretty good until they kind of they do give it up a little bit there. But that was a good play, like a decent sequence there coming through.
Oof!
Okay.
1, 2, 3, as easy as that. Zesty with the clear, Vassal with the setup from the corner, and Jets for Life, who always like to play aggressive in that box, banging it through. A UoN special, almost one of their few attacking looks, and they have many of them, making it a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, AUE, tough road back into this one if they kind of want to make it. And it does it's going to feel rough looking at the potential scoreline. A just comes off the post. That was a really good defensive effort, but Jets Flight's getting another one. Does beat out the crossbar. Shows Vassal, I think it was how it was done. Vassal had that little bit for the crossbar earlier, right?
Yeah. No, it was. I think it was Zesty actually who was losing the fight with the crossbar before. Also, that was almost a squishy. I don't think I've ever seen a squishy from the side like that before out of NIF. So that was cool. That was something different. That was a tough save. Very unfortunate, though, for the AUE side that they couldn't turn it into more after that. What they are going to get, though, is a shot from midfield. Follow-up was on target, but Zesty coming through with the save.
So that's the Adelaide squishy. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
Coming off the side. That sounds like we're trying to like insult them, but it's actually just, hey, that was a really cool play.
It was.
All right. That's the official AEL name for it now.
Why does adding Adelaide in front of any trick shot immediately make it funny sounding?
Honestly, I don't know.
It does, though.
It's better than calling it the Canberra something.
True.
That just makes it sound more depressing. You're just
it does.
You did it in a grey suit. Well done.
Yeah, no, the Canberra musty, or the Canberra squishy, that's not very good. But the Adelaide squishy, yeah, that's something that, I think we can have fun with. By the way, good touch by Zesty right there, getting the double commit. Two defenders just way out of shorts. Jets for life again, banging it through. 5-0 lead right now as we are edging closer and closer to that 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, getting there well. I mean, the score's already at 5-0 in this game. It's not going to be really any avenues of comeback, so we want to see kind of as much, like, more displays of that creativity from Adelaide and things like that, because fundamentally, I don't think there was a huge shot of them winning the series anyway, so I don't think they're in a much... Like, it does feel unfortunate to get a team like this and for have them to go in such a big role and such a dominant run in this game. But at the end of the day, like, there's still cool things they can show us, and that's kind of what I wanted to see from this, Show what your team is capable of, and we always talk about teams, like, leveling up and adapting through the seasons, which is literally, that's the narrative of UoN, right? That's, like, the Mosquitoes have done that. They are kind of the archetypal example. I don't think they were a terrible team to begin with.
No.
But we have seen a lot of teams who really struggled, who would take only 1 or 2 games in a season and come back and start being, like, staples of the series, not just because they play a lot, but because they're actually putting up good efforts or interesting plays and things and kind of challenging the top half of the ladder. So that's the sort of thing we want to... I think we want to see a bit more from Adelaide Uni here, but...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll have a chance, I'm sure, to see these players again. Wasn't all a complete wash. They came up with the new trick save, so that's all well good. Oh, my gosh, the bump from behind nearly opens the door for Jets for life. Vassal going to try to follow through, but NIF with not 1 but 2 key defensive touches, able to make the save out for now. 30 seconds left on the clock, but that doesn't mean the attack is going to relent. In fact, Vassal's going to spike one down. Saved by Zesty into NIF. A bit of a teammate error right there. Still, it's just been relentless, I feel like, for the past 30 seconds, and eventually Kobe is able to get some space, but only momentarily.
I'm a little sad we didn't get to yell Kobe obnoxiously this series, but hey, there'll be more in the future, right? That's gonna come a later time. 2 seconds left in this game. It looks like UoN are going to seal it pretty comfortably with another goal, possibly. No, it's gonna get saved out wide. Hey, to be fair, fighting till the end. I respect that. Almost trying to turn it around and get that 0-second goal as well.
Yeah, they almost were able to bring it back. And just like I'm going to bring back something, yeah, Kobe Archie, I wonder, is that a reference to Kobayashi, the hot dog eating guy?
I thought so. I didn't know that's what I knew the name, and that's all.
Yeah, because I know of Kobayashi as that guy who always ate, like, hundreds of hot dogs on the 4th of July. I'm very curious if that is the case. I hope AUE is listening and can maybe answer this question. But it looks like they're more concerned showing off some good sportsmanship, and that's always great to see. Going to go ahead and throw it back to us right now because we're going to have a little bit of a break before our 3rd and final game. UoN, they looked great in this series. They're going to have to keep that momentum moving forward because they have USYD Rokit Lorg up next. One of the favorites, not just of the group, but perhaps of the tournament. Still one of those top-seeded teams. It's going to be a tough match for them. So, will they be able to keep up that momentum? It's our game of the week for a reason. You're not going to want to miss it. More of some great Rocket League when we return. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our main event match of the evening. USYD Rokit, well, Rokit Log. They kind of changed their name a little bit, but on screen you see Rokit Lorg because that is what they previously were known as. It's the lineup of Cicelo, Ben the Nut, Eki, and Negative. Negative, Ben the Nut, it's Cicelo, all strong players. Meanwhile, on the UoN Mosquitoes side, we just saw them, Just for Life, Zesty, and Vassal, where they're here to repeat in what should be a great matchup. USYD, one of the favorites of this tournament. I rate a lot of these players quite highly. Negative, in particular, going to be someone to watch, is confirmed to be playing today, Fetch. And I imagine, as dominant as UoN looked before, a lot of what they were able to get away with, especially that in front of the box pressure, is going to be a lot more of a struggle now.
Oh, absolutely, and they might be tested a bit more on those counter hits. They did have some good rotations back. I think they had some, they kind of had all the fundamentals down, but they had all their fundamentals better than a team who was struggling a lot in that game. So now that they're going to be challenged a lot more, I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see which of those things they falter on, which of those things they excel on, really up against a team who's actually going to kind of push and challenge them. Yeah,
it's going to be exciting to see how they play this one off as the players are jumping onto the pitch, so too shall we. As we go ahead and set this one up, Just for Life, Vassal, and Zesty in blue. Eki, Psy, and Negative are in orange, or well, in this case, pink, as we do kick off game number 1 underway.
Here it is, and both of these universities have a win today on stream. USYD took out the first game, UoN took out the second game, and to be fair, this is a different University of Sydney team, but at the same point, what's on the line? University Pride is a fantastic shot and a fantastic save from Negative. Well, fantastic, you know what I mean. Fantastic shot from one side, fantastic save from the other side. Goes for a shot, doesn't quite connect on it. As these teams still trying to build momentum. 2 defenders, 2 attackers, both in the same position, and sort of no one really gets a solid touch on it.
Yeah, they are trying to go back and forth with each other for a brief moment. I am expecting this game to be pretty back and forth for a majority of it, actually. Just for Life, again, loving to play far forward, trying to get those touches, but look at the speed and the spacing right now coming from USYD Rokit Lord. They're doing a great job in covering so much of the field consistently, and they're moving at such a rapid pace that they're able to sort of move this spacing block wherever they absolutely have to. It's making it that much more difficult for UoN to set up and establish any of these attacks, and it feels like every touch coming from the USYD side makes its way all the way to the blue side backboard.
It really does. I mean, they haven't been able to control the ball for that long, but it's always been on their attacking half and with sort of almost a bit of a scramble for it. Not a full scramble, but, you know, like in sort of a more abstract sense. Negative puts the ball up very, very well, goes into Jets for Life, who's going to be able to carry this one down a little bit, but can't quite get too much more. Zesty was challenged on defense there, but sort of able to, well, it was able to be in more or less the right position as Eki just finds it back off the rotations. And in that situation, it just felt a bit like, USYD just found fantastic tempo in the play. And no matter what they tried, UoN just couldn't get back into position for it.
Yeah, as Eki was able to get that first big goal in favor of this orange side. And even though we are hyping this up as kind of like that premier game to watch for the evening, I would be remiss not to favor USYD Rokit Lorg as kind of the team to win this one out, and I wouldn't be too terribly shocked if it's a clean sweep either. And the big things that I want, again, to sort of be the determining factor as to why, comes from, again, the intelligence of the touches, how it's used given the circumstance, and like when they look for passes, when they look for clears, that sort of deal. Not to mention the speed at which they're playing, which has become immediately sort of evidence in this matchup. And while UoN at times might be able to match the touches, I feel like speed is constantly going to be an advantage for the USYD side, which will just create more opportunities overall. So yes, I am kind of leading towards a 3-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3 games with a 1-goal difference.
Yeah, and like you made a really good point, I think, last time on the cast, where technically every game should be a 3-0 or 3-1, given the fact that one team should just be better, right? Even if it takes maybe some time to adapt from a couple of play errors, things like that. And I believe that. I think that that's looking right from the way we are playing at the moment. But it could just be a fact that, like, UoN played a lower tempo game in their last match. They aren't quite able, you know, we'll take them a sec to match the pace which is coming through in this game because they're very, very different opponents. Vassal gets one very well on shot. I think that 1-2 play between them and Jets for Life was just so fantastic. They didn't have a lot of space to work with. They used it perfectly. The back and forth 1-2-1 straight into goal was really, really nice, and something I wanted to, we kind of touched a little bit on in that last series was the experience of this team not just playing the game, but playing together, and that should ideally give them that advantage in coordination.
Yeah, so there's two things about that goal that I really, really liked. The first being the adaptation. Historically, in that situation, Jets for Life would have just taken the shot. That's what we saw all last series. That's what we saw at the start of this series. This time, instead went for the pass. That's pretty slick. The other thing, you're talking about how UOM might have to raise their tempo to compete, as Negative puts another perfect placement top right bin. I'll come to this one in a sec. But just back real quick to that previous goal. They didn't raise the tempo. They actually slowed it down and forced USYD to try and play at their pace, and that's where they saw the advantage. That was great, but Negative takes it right back to that quick base, top right bin, perfect placement, 2-1 lead in favor of the Sydney side.
Yeah, good stuff. And I think, yeah, it's just as much a matter of, like, at least being able to have an answer for the momentum, you know? Not necessarily meeting them at it, having your own way to play around it. Vassal didn't quite get that touch there. Didn't have a lot of players to work with either. Side's going to go for a big clearance out. The height wasn't quite there. And Zesty just has to come through at the last second to find that clearance out. Vassal, the recipient of a bit of a dispossession in the play. He's coming to the corner, and Jets for Life is able to get there faster. But once again, you kind of talked about it. The rest of the plays just going the speed, just getting a bit of a speed advantage there from the rest of the team, even if Jets got to the first, got to contest that 50 better.
As we do see a 1-2-3 punch across the roof of the map, getting that ball all the way down to the opposite end. Vassal, it's a weaker touch. It was more of a defensive touch, but it still opens the door for Sai, who's going to put up a popper for Negative, who will spike it down off the post. Couldn't quite get this one in. Eki as well is going to post it. As we're playing a little bit of the post game right now, Sai, third member, does not do enough to stop Vassal, so Negative will be forced to play through the corner. Less than a minute to go right now. Goal needed by UON as USYD continue to maintain that 1-goal lead.
Yeah, it's not enough, generally speaking, to feel super comfortable with only 30 seconds remaining. You do have a bit more potential trying to go for that one, trying to hold that lead. I think that was yeah, one of the players just not quite finding the touch they might have liked. I thought that was Jets, but my tag is hidden at the moment by my camera, so I can't quite see, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, these UoN players, they just don't look like they have much of the many answers. And Eki goes up high and just puts the ball in exactly the right spot thanks to that pass.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an awkward read from Jets for Life that is immediately punished by Eki right there. I'd chalk that to a bit of an unforced error. Granted, it was a tough read, yes. However, against a team that's, you know, a favorite to possibly win this entire tournament, you have to be able to make touches like that. And unfortunately, that one gets behind UON. That's going to be enough to sort of warrant the end of game number 1. USYD, Rocket Lord, they take the first one with the 3-1 victory.
And, I mean, they did look really commanding. They looked like they had control of the game at every individual point. It wasn't like they were ever like, oh, God, UoN just turning it on. UoN really contesting that play. Whilst UoN did have that one fantastic sequence where they ran the ball down the middle of the field, it did look like USYD were in control for like 90% of that game. They had everything working exactly like they wanted to. But yeah, again, the vast majority of it.
Steam profile pictures will always amaze me. Have you ever seen the movie Killer Bean Forever?
No, I haven't. It sounds amazing, though.
Well, when you get a chance, just take a look at Sai's Steam profile picture. And it's essentially a movie created by one of the guys who did the visual effects for the original Matrix about pretty much coffee beans that shoot each other for an hour and a half. It's something else, that is for sure. As we do go, 15 seconds into this game, initial attack coming from the UoN side doesn't lead to a goal, but Zesty will have a second crack at it straight down the middle, saved once again by Sai.
Yeah, and Jets for Life is going to have a shot at this one. Doesn't quite have the boost, didn't quite manage to pull those plays they found that first series just yet. But I mean, at least UoN had an opportunity there. At least they kind of tried to find something, but now it's back in control of their opponents here. USYD going to run around a fair bit, going to put a lot of work in, try and make sure they can use those, use that kind of speed they had, which you talked about in that first game. Use those advantages, put the ball exactly where they want to be. And also that midfield control as well. Something they're doing very well. Negative, very quick flick shot. But again, doesn't quite find the net.
Yeah, it's a few swings, a few misses. Ball still being cleared across the center where Vassal will pop that one up high. Negative, clearing from the corner, looking to go the distance with that touch. Great pinch play right there out of the veteran RLCS player. Although won't be able to follow up this time around. Jets for Life now playing through that corner, looking for a setup. Zesty went for the bump, but couldn't make contact.
Indeed, and something I just noticed is the fact that Oh, trying to get a little bit fancy with that, and I'm not even going to bother trying to go with terminology there after what happened in our last couple of games.
They're all musties. They're all musties.
Oh, that's right.
They're all musties. Every game is Mario, and it's played on a Nintendo. Eki, shot from above, isn't quite going to hit the goal.
True. But something which other than that ground pinch, other than that attempt at a ground pinch, quite good as Sire's going to try and set up a counterattack. Just gets absolutely demoed, 100% demoed, not even a little bit demoed, just completely demoed. As Jets for Life's going to try and clear this one out. And once again, good control by USYD. They're going straight back onto this. But something I was going to mention before is the fact that at the time, for the first part of this game, UoN actually had far more shots on goal than USYD. They've kind of evened it up now thanks pretty much to Negative's like big fire after fire attempt. But UoN came in pretty hard in the first part of this game.
Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, they had that pressure from that opening kickoff, and they're still looking to maintain it. Zesty going for the double, just missing out. Had a chance for something special right there. Instead, possession is going to go back that other way. Sai keeps the ball held up high. Negative collecting that midfield boost. Will be going for the challenge, playing it through the corner. No third member available for the touch, but the bump might open away. Here comes Eki, who pushes it wide to the right.
Yeah, and that touch wasn't quite perfect. It gives Jets an opportunity, but they can't quite find that passing play they had before. Negatives even wanted to run this one through. A very close game here. He just gets sort of escorted away from that play to try and give a bit more time for UoN. Jets going in solo, bumps the ball up high, forces a double commit, I should say. But again, not anyone there to kind of pick that one up. On one hand, here it is. Actually, there's a good opportunity, but it just wasn't connected with it all. UoN don't quite look at that same shape they were in that last game.
Neither team really getting a lot of solid touches on this, and we're seeing lots of little mistakes, but we're also seeing more physicality on defense from both sides. I think you put it best, just escorting people away from the play time and time again. I feel that one play in particular was, the bouncer sort of leading someone out of the club, as we do have a minute 30 still to go in this game. Scoreless at the moment, but Negative's going to try and change that. Double touch. Oh, can't quite get the spike, but from underneath, that was Eki there, saved by Zesty. And these approaches are looking so good from each team, but no one can just seal the deal.
It does scare me a little bit that even though UoN found power off momentum off a momentum shift in the last game in that one goal, they're trying to pass back a bit. It's a bit risky. This ball's going to waterfall down. If there's nothing defenders can do about it, they still manage to pass the ball out wide. They give up possession for it. Now it's going to be flying above goal. Jets for Life gets the preemptive touch and actually pass out to Vassals. Might be a bit of an opportunity if they can catch the rotations a little bit slower. Nothing going to happen from it, just too much. Jets just getting marked a little bit too well, and now the attack flips once again.
That was a really nice defensive pass, actually, leading to the shot. Zesty gets the touch along the backboard. I don't know why the game didn't call that a save. Maybe because it knew that Sai was going to put one in. Top right bin, 1-0 lead for USYD Rocket Lord.
And this is the thing. This is the problem. UoN have had the ball bouncing right in front of their goals too many times at too low a speed for me to be super comfortable with how they're playing. I mean, 39 seconds left. They can come up with something, I'm sure, if they just tighten up that execution a little bit. But, fundamentally, if the ball is going to be right in front of your goal that much, it's eventually going in. That's just the rule of sports in general. It's not just Rocket League. It's kind of any time there is a goal. If you mess around too much, you will get punished for it. And I mean, maybe that wasn't the full story there. Of course, it wasn't the full story. But it does feel like that's at least something which they've got to be a bit more aware of. If they're going to play this slow style, they still need to find those clears. They have to make sure they can break this mid-pitch control before they do that.
Well, I like that adaptation we're seeing right here at the end of the game. Instead of keeping it slow, they are spreading out the field. While they're not going vertically up it, they are going horizontally across it, trying to cause defenders, or in this case attackers, to bite early. Doesn't pay off this time for UoN. However, the variancy is something that I like, as they're going for the 0-second or negative. Will shut it down, puts the ball in the corner, ends our second game with a 1-0 victory, the perfect score, might I add. And now USYD is one game away from yet another clean sweep.
Yeah, they are, and that'd be a pretty big deal against a team like University of Newcastle. And to be fair, again, like you said, you don't expect these teams, or you don't talk about these teams in the sense that they have a big difference between them. It's not like one is just leaving the other in a different league altogether, and but it is the small differences, those small things which are better. There's I know I talk about this idea a lot, but there's a few fundamental things which win you a Rocket League game. And if your opponent does each of those the tiniest bit better than you, it does feel like you don't have any avenues to get back into the game. I don't think that's the case right here for UoN, but it is how, we kind of get to these scorelines. Almost attempted a kickoff goal, which would have been pretty nice for them to have. I mean, obviously pretty nice for them to have, but they just didn't quite engineer it. Jets for Life playing this one a little bit slower. keeping in the corner, but again, has to find that clearance, which they were lacking a little bit as the ball goes straight towards Sai, who does rotate back to defense, though.
Yeah, I think one thing to note when it comes to, I feel, each of these teams, and the big deciding difference, I'm going back to the point I made at the first game. A lot of it has to do with sort of the speed factor and just reading the movements. As Sai proves right here, Sai started off behind Zesty, but is still able to get to the ball first because of the better boost management and saved enough to even take that shot to begin with. Vassal thought they had more time because of the positioning of Zesty, so went for the corner boost, wasn't able to get to in front of the goal in time, and that is one of those situations where it's just speed is key, and it is so important in games like Rocket League as, I mean, that the aggressiveness and how fast Sai got to that attacking point was absolutely phenomenal, and already we have ourselves a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and it seemed to be pretty comfortable. It seemed to be pretty comfortable. USYD seemed to be pretty comfortable playing it as a 0-goal advantage. They never gave up. They didn't look too pressured. Now they have 1 goal. They're going to try and keep that same style up. They just are holding the ball in their attacking half and just not letting it go. Just not letting anything sort of break through that. As is, they're playing off the side a little bit. Sai comes up for the shot, but does actually not find the best connection of it. It kind of goes to the opponents, and Jets for Life has an opportunity, but Eki just there to mark perfectly.
Yes, we do see Negative now throwing it down to Sai, who puts it up to Negative. Oh, what an aggressive pass forward. Yeah, Eki liked that one. Everyone, I think, liked that one. That was absolutely disgusting.
That was a really fantastic play. I was thinking that UoN, their avenue back into this is coordination and things like that. If USYD keep pulling out plays like that, they're kind of taking their opponent's win condition and use it for themselves almost. But still plenty of time to go, 3 minutes, 33 seconds. Zesty finds one straight off the play. He just capitalizes on a slight, not misposition, but, you know, the fact that the defense hadn't quite formed up. Sai goes for a big clear, and Jets for Life just is disruptive enough to give Zesty a pretty much open goal.
Jets for Life is one of my favorite types of players to watch. Just always taking shots, no matter the situation, no matter what's going on. I'm just going to get in my opponent's face. I'm going to take the fight to them. And I absolutely love that in situations where you are coming in a little bit of an underdog as well, because it tells you, you know what, I don't care if, you know, maybe historically you've been a better team than us. I'm still going to play my style of Rocket League against you. It doesn't matter who you are. And that's always a great thing to see, again, not just in Rocket League, but in all sense of sports. So another thing that I really feel plays into one of UoN's strengths. It is great to see. Unfortunately, against USYD a few times it has kind of worked against them, but not for that goal. So really well played from the UoN side.
Yeah, fantastically well played. And I agree. I just agree with that one again. That's another point I'm just 100% on top of. I mean, I compared it to the way LPL plays League of Legends, where like at every opportunity they're looking for a team fight win. And people hated that because League of Legends is a bad game. But it's true in every single possible esport. I'm pretty sure it's the same in like Valorant and Counter-Strike. Those teams who find those big aggressive opportunities at every moment. That's where clutches and things have come from. So I agree. I think it's exciting style at bare minimum, and a valuable one for your team at most.
Absolutely, as we do see now, a chance to clear it across the middle. Negative will fall back for it. I mean, it's interesting because I can compare it more to League of Legends. I like to go with that comparison as well. Sometimes that's also the most egregious area where you see, teams from, quote-unquote wildcard regions try to change their style once they make it to the international stage. And it's always the ones that keep their own style that always comes through with the major upsets. It's why you always should be trying to play to your strengths, I feel like, in any sort of situation. 2-1 lead right now, Jets for Life. Going to try and do another Jets play. They put it up, but they stay with it underneath. Don't really find that next touch. Negative counters that style by keeping it held up high. Zesty can't find the shot from the corner, so it's going to be all up for Jets to continue the momentum moving forward. Vassal now with a chance, can't make contact with the ball despite the net being semi-open at the time.
Yeah, a couple of players, defenders were pulled through. This is a bit of a 1v1 at the moment, but we just can't see enough momentum coming through. It's not enough time for Negative and Sai to rotate back, but I love the possession and positional advantages won by UoN here. They're doing so much better at keeping the ball in an offensive position, even in spite of the clear attempts. That was an unfortunate whiff, but hopefully it seems like they might be able to make up for it if they can just get the ball off Eki here. This actually could be quite costly. Sai sitting in the pocket, but it just got slow. It just got awkward. They weren't able to quite put it across.
So I'm going to propose a theory to you, which is going to be a little bit of a buzzkill to the point you were trying to make. I think the reason why we're seeing UoN also holding that ball on their defensive half, they are outwardly looking for more of those team pass plays. They're constantly sending one person forward, so they're keeping 2 players back, and that is helping UoN keep these deep attacking efforts moving forward. And, well, it might be a little more, riskier. Well, this is why. You see that counterattack shot come through. Of course, it's Jets for life over the top. Negative can't get back in time, and we have ourselves a tie ball game.
I did I was thinking about that when I made the point, but I did feel like, because I think when you get to experience Rocket League teams, very rarely do we see them kind of like play super defensively or play, index in those kind of awkward ways. And it did work out for UoN. Like that setup, that particular field setup did work out for UoN. But that's why you don't want to have the ball in your defensive half too much if you are any team. But I mean, in that situation, it kind of bit USYD in the butt. And at the end of the day, we might actually see, at the end of the game specifically, we might see
an overtime
coming to you. And that would be really exciting, I think. Because I feel like if UoN steal themselves and get really excited on this, bit of pressure going back onto USYD, this could make for a fantastic overtime. Hopefully it's not the last one. I'd like
Zesty?
To see, Zesty.
Which is not done yet, though. Jets for life is going to try to end this one, although defense will save it for now. Vassal will down it. So, yes, we are going to get our overtime, Fetch.
Yeah, and I don't want this to be the last we see from these two teams, because I think that there's a lot more to not a lot more to see them. I just enjoy the kind of nuance back and forth between them. I want to see a bit of a fight back from UoN. This is where it starts, so they can win this overtime.
Uh-oh.
They have another opportunity. Zesty setting up the ball, didn't quite get that second touch.
This is going to be dangerous.
He still gets it! Straight past Sai, who just came sailing over the top. That was just such an awkward bounce and set of passes. It just... I don't even know what to make of that.
It was a case of the whiffles, and I believe it was actually Negative who started, as the double commit on the defensive side kind of opened the doorway, and it allowed Zesty to have that extra bit of time, despite the awkward approach, to turn it into a goal. So UoN definitely not looking as clean on the latter half of that game than we saw in the previous two. USYD not looking as clean. UoN looking a lot cleaner, I should say. 9 shots to 6. They maintain possession very, very well. I'm going to be curious to see if they can keep this momentum going forward. An overtime win is one thing, but they still need to pull off a reverse sweep.
Yeah, exactly. And at least one more game would give them that confidence, because I think that if you win 2 games in a row, in the reverse sweep situation, when you're threatening the reverse sweep, that last game becomes so much harder for your opponents, given how much mental stress they're under. And something else I'd like to talk about is Zesty gets a really good opportunity. Just for Life doesn't quite receive that as it's going to be cleared out by Sai. Sort of awkward, slow demo play there. There's actually an opportunity for the counter score from USYD. It's not quite going to work out. 2 players in this defensive corner. Opportunity for a passing play, but it's not quite going to work out. 2 players commit for that attack, so possibility for some sort of clearance here if the side of UoN can find it. But I also... there's a few whiffs coming in from UoN on the attacking half. We've seen them miss a few goals they probably could have executed on. If they tighten that up, they're in a much, much better spot, because this has been a very, very close game. Zesty puts in a really awkward position, but Sai once again being that clutch defender.
Yeah, Sai doing actually a really good job sort of in that third-man role right now, but they haven't been able to play that across that midfield line, and they haven't been able to for a while. Zesty going for the dribble. We'll have it saved out by Negative. Ball now going across the pitch as Sai has a look for it. Weaker touch from behind. Follow through, though, this time by Eki. Should turn the pressure around, but as you can see, it looks like USYD are content to play far, far back. In fact, 2 members on the backboard. I'm a little bit surprised by that, especially when the ball still winds up behind them. Sai now looking to clear it across the middle, and now you see them strike. Now you see them score. Sai to Eki makes it 1-0 for the orange team.
Yeah, UoN kept pushing up and pushing up and pushing up and trying to find something, and as it was just a great pass off to Eki, who keeps it high, keeps it off the crossbar even, a very, very close to not quite going in. But at the end of the day, that counter hit was perfect. That pass set up, the positional play, everything kind of worked out really, really well for USYD. They were pretty happy with a 1-goal lead in the second game, but of course, in that last game we saw, they did end up getting a little bit too turtley and a little bit too defensive. It kind of, as I said in that game, hit them in the butt. If they can get this pass off to Sai, that 2-goal buffer would be much better though.
Also, apologies for the little packet loss symbol coming up. I'm not too sure why that is the case, because the stream is still running entirely smoothly, and I find it kind of funny that we're having more issues spectating the Rocket League game than restreaming through multiple platforms and bringing this game to you live. Apparently that's less strenuous. Well, fair enough. I'm not sure. I don't get it. Technology is weird and scary. Either way, it looks like the packet loss has gone away. So Sai now looking to throw it down to someone. Anyone double commit, double whiff. Open door for Eki, who can't get it past Vassal.
Yeah, but they've got another opportunity. Didn't quite find that redirection. Sets up for negative. It doesn't quite work perfectly. Sai now, the third player involved in this attacking play, doesn't find it either. Those touches weren't quite there, weren't quite perfect. Eki's just gonna have another shot at it. The defense is lining up, but they aren't quite able to get back for it fast enough. And negative takes the second goal to put this game into a 2-goal buffer. And that's looking pretty good right here for USYD to possibly close out this series.
Yeah, USYD with the 2-goal lead should be feeling much more confident than they did last game. I'm a little bit concerned if we start to see more of that 2-1 defense trying to cheat players forward for those passing plays. Well, they're not going to bother. They're going to make sure it's 3-0 at least first before they look for some cheese.
Yep. But the fact they found those 2 goals in quick succession is a pretty good sign. Obviously, winning this series, being in the spot they're in, is itself a pretty good sign. But, yeah, it's a pretty good sign they're going to be able to close out this game, running the momentum a little bit, finding themselves a couple of openings back-to-back. It's not like UoN didn't find 3 goals in that last game from behind, but this is a bit of a different story here, especially if Negative's able to control this ball the way they are, and they're going to get the second touch in. Not a double touch, but you know what I mean. The self-pass, the flick in, they find it straight down the field. Really good jink on both players.
That was rude. That was rude, Negative. RLCSX Major Elite tag proving that worth right there, making not 1 but 2 defenders whiff entirely while keeping that ball in the air. It's almost Harlem Globetrotter-esque sometimes when players have like those once capabilities and just keep everyone away from the ball. Fantastic play out in Negative. And I think, I don't know if I like that or the breezy for the goal of the day.
Ooh, that's true. I mean, I'm a big fan of the classic field hockey, where like those sort of plays are like the staples, the fundamentals of the game. Little like that's where like the name Jink comes from, because I don't know if there's a better name for it. Negative lining this one up, taking a bit of time over it, playing a bit more patiently. He's pulling
Negative's
so many
having fun.
back.
He is having fun now.
So
2 defenders
fun.
miss, and now looking for the bump on the third. Does a little 360 before pressing it forward. Back to Negative. Shot in. Are you kidding me, Negative? There is a reason why I've highlighted him as a player to watch, and he's waiting till Game 4 to show off.
Literally on the little quarter pipe wall segment thing, which I'm sure has a better name, and I'm sure you can tell me what that is. But, yeah, from there to the goal, to the middle of the goal, like smack bang in the center. It wasn't even like it was close to the edge or anything.
That's Negative. Oh, again. Just trying to play with their food again, just making defenders miss, forcing the own goal, and then stopping to watch as it rolls in. Oh my goodness, Negative. What? Where was this for the first 3 games?
Right? I feel like it's just a confidence thing. Negative was like, nah, it's too risky. And then gets to this point where they're so far in the lead, they're just like, what if we just had fun with it? And also, I think it might just be that feeling of like, okay, this series is over. We're all just kind of like messing around a little bit. Because that's the thing. In a lot of other games, when a game is getting close to done, it's getting close to done. Whereas in Rocket League, it's just, no, you just have to sit there at the keyboard, keep playing it. I don't think many teams can find this sort of like 1 goal every 20 seconds less than tempo. But almost, Jets for Life almost has it on. Eki with a great double save there. But yeah, partly maybe it's the fact that UoN are a bit like, all right, we just won a series really convincingly, and we're kind of getting a bit stomped at this game. Let's just throw the car at the ball, see what happens.
You know, and you see Jets for Life, you know, joking telecasters not to watch. You know, there is no shame in just getting schooled by a player with the competitive experience and, you know, prowess of Negative. Negative is one of the best in the region for a reason. Depending on where you call one of the best. I know some people will say unless you're the top 4 in the country, well, then you're not one of the best.
Yep.
I'm a lot more lenient with that. I do believe if you have that RLCX Major tag, you are one of the best. Vassal is going to get one, though, on the return, so it's nice to not get shut out. But to go to that Negative point, I mean, absolutely. He's been fantastic, and now we've got a goal. We have a goal for everyone, and not just the goal that was scored. We want to see the Brazil, as Eki is calling it, this game has become Brazilable.
Yeah, possibly. That's what this war is about. No one cares about anything else that's happening in this game. Fundamentally, it's whether they can Brazil. Jets for Life wants to close it, but no! Didn't quite find the speed and the angle on that play. But UoN, they're on the attack. They're unrelenting here. They're going to just cancel this one out. They want to either get 2 goals or at least just stop one more score. Or like 1 score on an own goal is fine for them.
Oh,
no! No!
Wait,
Negative.
still alive.
Oh,
Still
it is
alive. Okay, now it's dead.
No,
Yeah, now it's dead.
Okay.
Oh,
You
you
went
know
too
what?
polished for that.
Take the win away. I don't care how many amazing moves Negative pulled off. I don't care how crazy they were before. Can't even give us the Brazil first aim. Although, give the win back because any reference to Killer Bean Forever is absolutely hilarious. So, you know, we'll still give it to you, Sid. They take the series 3-1. We stole your only game. How do you feel? GGs go out, apparently. You know what? Cool Cobb Collective. Negative, wait, what? Oh, that's fun. But no, well played by you, Sid, from top to bottom. No, it's 3-1. That's 3-1. That's 3-1.
Oh, no. I wish I could see chat. I have chat disabled for times when I'm streaming, and I'm so sad I'm missing out on this. I'm gonna have to open the Twitch chat, Twitch stream to make sure
it's all good. I've kind of jumped from the game now as well, but yeah, Negative forgetting how many games their team has won. To close this one out, I mean, I enjoy Negative.
The band is good.
I enjoy Negative.
Yeah.
I am a fan of Negative. Have been for a good while, so I think it's all fun and games. Look, can't say the result was a surprise, except for the fact that UoN did take one more game than I initially predicted. They took the fight to them, and that is, again, a testament to how much this team has grown, actually, since we've been covering them here at AEL. They can now take down, you know, every now and then some of the favorites of events like this. There's a reason why they are always a playoff threat, and even though they walk away with the loss, I mean, they can hold their heads up high for a lot of reasons. Yeah,
and it's not even like that knocks them out of the finals per se. Like there's still opportunities and things like that. We've looked at so many standings now. I've lost in my head. Yeah, so that's only their second loss right now. So there's only one team they're kind of challenging for that position still. There's actually 2 teams they're challenging for those positions. RMIT Black and QT Musketeers. It's not highly unlikely that they can't beat one of those 2 teams and keep that sort of kind of gatekeep that top 3 spot for themselves. So I think that it'd be very interesting to watch how this Group D unfolds. Realistically, I think like Macca's run and stuff, they're probably a bit far out of the running now with that 4-3 scoreline. Yep. Yeah, very unfortunately. But with 3 teams only having 1 loss so far, UoN and QT. Oh, sorry. UoN only having 2 losses now, I should say, and QT still at 4-1 with 1 more game to play to catch up with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a real opportunity for them. They still really do have that potential to kind of hold that top 3 spot.
Absolutely. I mean, the big thing is they're going to have to win a game against one of those 2 teams, do that, and more likely than not, they'll be in. For USYD Rocket Lorg, I mean, they're now, 8-0? Yeah, they are secured and then some. I feel like they're going to be getting that #1 seed in Group D, which is also going to be very important, straight to the quarterfinal, that winner's bracket quarterfinal, I should say, exactly where you want to be. So, well played for them as well, winning that group as what should have been expected. As for us, though, the answer to a lot of these questions, well, they won't be happening until next week. We are getting ever closer till that cutoff, obviously. I mean, you said they only have 1 game left. A few teams have a few more, but our next 2 weeks are going to be very, very intense indeed, Fetch.
I think you should have done all the games, because that's 8 wins, and there are 9 teams in the league.
Actually, yeah, that would be it. That's a perfect record. They did it.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Perfect season. It doesn't happen too often. I mean, there's almost always the team, no matter how good, gets a game taken off them. And there's only a few other teams who remain undefeated. Monash Ball Chasers and Uni SA beat Lethal. So...
There's also OpenNet Esports and UQU Purple also still sitting undefeated. So there are a few.
There's not many.
No.
Though.
I mean, UniSA beat Lethal, the defending champs, though. They're still going to be a team to watch out for.
Absolutely.
And we will be bringing you all that and more. One last time, a big thank you to all of our sponsors here of AEL, Chatime, AOC, Indomie, and Rig. A big thank you to all the universities participating. And a big thank you to all of you for tuning in and watching. Fetch, I mean, next week, I want to hear a bold prediction before we sign off. Let's go crazy. What's something that we need to be looking out for?
Something to look out for. That's tricky because there's so many different things going on in this league, I think. Because I really want to see the Platinum Nums go up against UniSA if they haven't already played yet. But there's just so many teams and so many things. I don't even know what games we're going to be. I don't actually.
I'll drop my big shock surprise. I think Beat Lethal is going to lose one of their last 2 games and not finish undefeated. I don't know why.
I agree.
I think they're going to drop one and it's going to catch people off guard. That's going to be a bold prediction to end on. Watch it become horribly, horribly wrong as they just 6-0 and clean sweep the rest. Until then, though, I am Formal. Up there is Fetch. And until next time, we'll see you all around.